Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Path of Me. That was my dog, Bets, just running down the stairs. She makes an appearance now and then. My name is Wendy Hutchinson, and my guest today is a fellow Marconic energy practitioner. I'm really excited to share her story. Her name is Lauralee McCarthy. Welcome, Lauralee. Thanks for coming in with me today. How's it going?
Thank you for having me. Good.
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm so excited to have you here. So I've been watching Lauralee literally transform her life. And when I mean transform, literally outside, inside, just a complete incredible transformation. She's undergone a spiritual transformation, a physical transformation. I don't know how much weight you've lost, but girl, you lost. 200 pounds.
Yes.
You have lost 200 pounds. That is incredible. And I mean, there's just so much to your story. Let's just get right to it. So I know that you're a product of a family that had some addiction in it. And with that, of course, comes all of the fun byproducts of that, right? Probably a lot of emotional.
Addictive personality.
Right. Early age, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And then you were going pretty hard as a teen. And it sounds like around 19, something happened that got you to shift and think you wanted to seek sobriety. What was that kind of got you into recovery?
What got me into recovery was I had met, it was a divine connection. And I had met a gentleman where I worked, and he recommended that I go into treatment, and I had no idea what that even meant.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew that I didn't want to live the way I was living anymore. And so therefore, I was willing to do whatever. I was always willing to do whatever it took to get myself to the best place possible. So I did. I went into treatment at 19, and I got into recovery. And the recovery process there was Alcoholics Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And that helped me. It helped me to reprogram the program that I already had, because the program that I grew up with was pretty distorted.
Right.
And so
to see it too, because when you're in it, it's hard to see it.
Yes.
You're living it. That's your norm.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know like there's another way to be, or react. Maybe have relationships with people because all you know is what you see.
Right. And since I was young, I always knew that there was more to this life.
Mm-hmm.
What meets the eye. Like I was always able to. I always saw things. I was definitely a different child.
Yeah.
I was travel when I was little, and that stopped at a really early age. I'd say like 7, I think. And so much of my truth and my inner magic got suppressed really quick and really early when I was young.
You kind of just shut it down. Probably it's a survival tool.
Yeah, exactly.
A lot of people kind of start to dim their light and like start to bury and suppress their truth, because what they're seeing is, hey, that's not acceptable here. I mean, I can't really be me here. I just need to survive this,
Exactly.
Tangible. I need to survive the day. I can't be out astral traveling and like dreaming.
In a world of people that are not being themselves.
Right.
Is completely foreign. So.
And you kind of know it, but I think you're observing it and you're like, oh, that's what I need to do to survive in this world. I need to play this game, and that's the role I need to play. So there you go, right? One thing leads to another. You end up kind of partying really hard and then going through recovery, which, I believe that people who have gone through recovery are so incredibly spiritual, because in order to do that, you have to actually do your inner work. You're guided to do the inner work. And there's all people on the outside judging like, oh, so-and-so's in recovery. It's like, yeah, and they're probably doing a lot more inner work than you are, the person who's sitting outside judging that, So that probably was a pivotal part.
Judge myself in recovery. There was that whole stigma, and then there was a lot. There was a lot to me. Going into recovery, there's a lot of the program of AA, which was beautiful because a lot of it takes you into yourself. Like the people there, I felt like I had a hard time there as well because I would feel like a lot of the people there didn't do what they said.
Right.
But the words that they said made sense to me. Right. So I would do my best to apply them to myself.
Yeah. So it was serving a purpose.
Yeah, it definitely served a purpose.
It really sounds to me like you have an excellent bullshit meter.
Yeah.
Like you can look around and be like, they're talking the talk, but they're not walking the talk,
It had to live on this planet for a long time.
Yeah. That must have been so hard, It must have been so hard for you internally to be working through this. Also, what I know is when you start to change, it triggers people around you. So all of a sudden, you're not engaging in those same behaviors. All of the people who are, that are in your family or friend circle, start to feel threatened by that. And that makes its own crazy dynamic, right? All of a sudden, people are you're starting to reflect to them maybe what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And not. So there's all kinds of emotional crap that happens through that process that's not necessarily supportive, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I honor you for making it.
Funny you bring up the people around you because my mother was a raging alcoholic my whole life. And after I got into recovery, I was about a year sober. And there was a part of me that was like, I have to stay here. I knew I had to stay there, but it wasn't just for me. And I had a big cookout at my mother's house. I asked her if I could have a cookout. And I was 20 years old. I had no idea what I was doing. So I decided to flyers and bring them to all of the AA meetings.
Oh my God. Did you have like 1,000 people show up?
Over 300 sober people showed up at this cookout. My mother could not drink from that day forward.
What? Are you serious?
Recovery for 22 years.
Okay, that was no accident, for one thing, and that is so incredible.
People being affected by your actions and you getting better is absolute truth. My mother is total proof of that.
Lauralee, that is so, the divine cosmic plan around that is so incredible.
It was amazing.
That is such an awesome story.
That's what changing. As forever was to help people to be in recovery, and I got a job working at a detox, and I was
fantastic.
Homeless. That was amazing.
Yeah, I really feel like you go through things in your life so that we can gift and share our experiences and extend a hand and help pull others through, right? We have to kind of go through a lot of deep suffering and do all our inner work so that we can turn around and extend a hand and with compassion and truth, right?
Yeah.
To help other people come through. So that's such a beautiful story. I love that. So I know you always kind of had this light inside of you. As you started to come back to yourself, I know there were some pivotal moments in your life. Obviously, recovery was one of them. And then you kind of had this long period where you were learning to love yourself. But around 33, you made a little shift. So tell me a little bit about that.
So at 33, I fell off the recovery wagon at the point after my brother suicide. And I got really angry. And the chain of events that had followed, I ended up reverting back to my known, my comfort zone, my suffering.
Sure.
And knowing that that's what worked for me and my survival and whatnot. So ended up getting diagnosed with mental health issues and severe ADHD and borderline personality disorder and mental health issues that most people don't really climb out of. I chose to accept them. I went on disability. And
did you feel those were accurate, those diagnoses, or were they just a product of the suffering that you and the behaviors that were exhibited because of the suffering?
Behaviors, absolutely. I don't
like I just feel like that was a misdiagnosis, but I don't really know your story, so
totally. So yes, it was definitely misdiagnosis.
Yeah.
It was what was needed at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I knew that there was an actual thing wrong with me, then I could figure out how to fix me.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's where the challenge became good. But I didn't want to live my whole life. I didn't want to live on this planet. And then at some point they told me that it was suicidal. I never felt like it was suicidal. I never felt that it was wrong that I didn't want to be on this planet until it was drilled into me. And then as I got older, you know, it stuck. The programming stuck. But at 33, I decided I wanted to live. I had gone a couple of days. I knew I wanted to get off my meds. I had met my wife. We were raising kids, and I didn't want to keep living in the darkness anymore.
Yeah.
If I would stay here and I was going to live on this planet, I wanted to do it the best I possibly could.
That's a huge shift in mindset. That's a huge shift.
Yes. And I'll tell you, I know most people like the drugs and the whatnot are no good and they're so bad and whatnot, but I'll tell you, it's what saved me. It literally saved me. The Adderall that I used to take for the ADHD, it flipped itself. It didn't work, just like any other addiction, just like anything that I have an addictive personality, so I'd become addicted to anything that made me feel good temporarily, right. And it flips itself. But it took me to my spiritual self a lot. I would invert, I would be alone, and it would help me to get to that place. And I knew that there was a better part of me because of that.
So you're able to kind of silence the mind and get to a place where you could be centered and connected, which is probably something that hadn't been available to you before. Maybe.
Right, exactly. That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew that there was a truth to me. I knew that I could do much better than what I was doing. So, and I knew that it wasn't working anymore, and I knew that I needed to stop. I knew I needed to come off the mental health medication. I knew I needed to come off of everything. I did it properly. I did it the way that they recommended. It served its purpose for me. And then so I made this agreement with myself at 33 because it had been 3 days that I'd woken up and I liked living.
That's huge.
Yes. And I was like, all right, I can do this. If I'm going to feel like this and I'm not going to want to not be here, then I'll do this. I'll do the best I can. So
that's
I quit
huge.
I quit the drinking. I quit the drugs. I didn't really drink. I quit it all.
Wow.
So it was a whole year in my bed. And my new addiction was food. Not that it wasn't always an addiction piece, but it wasn't as bad until then. So food became my addiction.
The tough thing about addiction is when you release one, there's always one right behind it. So you trade, I don't know, maybe trade alcohol for sweets, or you trade, cigarettes for ADD meds, or you trade ADD meds for, there's always something like kind of one's going out, but there's something right behind it until we can heal our emotional body, right? Our story, change our story.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that. And one addiction to the next, I ended up being 430 pounds.
Girl, that's incredible.
But being in bed that year saved me too. Not being able to do anything, not being able to go out, because I found meditation. I started YouTube and meditation. I started making agreements with myself that I wasn't going to beat myself up. I wanted to change behaviors. And I started talking to my guides and trusting that I had guides. So I would be like, all right, so I'd be talking to the ascended masters, or I'd be talking to spirit guides. I had a lot of family members that passed away. So I would be like, all right, help me get to this place, or I'm going to trust that you're going to guide me to the right counselor and stuff like that. So things like that started happening.
I'm getting emotional.
And then I'd get
I'm getting emotional hearing your story. I knew it. Right before I started this interview, right before, I had this intuition. You better get a Kleenex box, because here we go. Now I'm starting to get emotional around your story, but go ahead, keep going. Just keep crying. But you keep telling your story.
So I started seeing and having tangible evidence. And this would, it sparked my soul a little bit more, and it lit my life a bit more, and it made me start to trust a little bit more that I really can do this. There really is more to this. I was right. It's okay. I did this. I stayed this long for a reason.
Right.
And then I would go to a counselor, and I met this woman, and she was a holistic counselor, and she didn't deal with medication, and she was into crystals, and she was into all that stuff that I love.
So like this perfectly aligned person gets dropped into your life, or guided, I would say, right? And you followed. It sounds like you through that cathartic year of healing, and I mean inner healing, you're still eating a lot, but you were doing so much soul growth and so much healing on the inside that people couldn't really see on the outside. It took some linear time for the outside to catch up and reflect the inside, right? But how awesome that you found the absolute person that you need to find.
It was so perfect. Everything just continued to fall into place. The journey, I look back still, and I feel like it took me a long time, but all the time that it did take was so necessary. Each component, each part, every single day,
Like there was no wrong turn, right? It was like you had to be exactly in that space to heal some aspect of yourself in order to take the next step and go to the next place, right?
These aspects of myself. There was so much of myself that I didn't really want. I was fearful to release.
Of course. That's since childhood. I feel that we take on so many programs and mindsets and stories in our childhood that define us. And just think about it. Maybe we're 6 or 7 and we're learning to self-soothe because of some trauma or something that's happened.
Yeah.
We're 6 or 7, like we really don't have the tools or skills or coping mechanisms at that age. But we build a story, we build behaviors of survival, and then here we are, 36 years later or 30 years later, still trying to use these same coping mechanisms that we attached to as children. So for you to recognize that and just connect to self and trust your guidance is so powerful. What was that unfolding like for you? That silence, that meditation, that connection to your guides. How did that present to you in the beginning?
How did the meditation present?
Yeah, just, going inward. How did that expand and lead to you connecting to your guides?
I'm trying to think. I know AA, they definitely had a sort of program already in my head from going to so long. So there was a lot that I learned there, and I think the meditation aspect is what kept coming to me as I knew I wanted to start getting better. So it was like meditate, I'd get little streams of
downloads.
Yes, exactly. I would get downloads. I would just follow them. I'd Google search meditation, and then YouTube videos would pop up, and I'm like, yes, okay, so this is easy. And then I was like, my head was way too messy to do any kind of regular straight meditation, so I had to do guided meditation. And the guided meditations helped. They got me, and then I learned mantra meditations, and the mantras helped me to reprogram the thought.
So you kept elevating a little bit and a little bit. So what you were doing basically is quieting and silencing your mind and soul enough to get a little guidance, a little prompt, a little nudge somewhere, and then you followed it.
Yes.
Right? And so would you say that the key to this unfolding was allowing yourself to get into a place where you could actually hear or receive the information?
Absolutely. I remember sitting with myself at the very end of all the medication and the drug use, and I just sat and I made this agreement with myself, and it was like I made a contract with myself, like an actual agreement. And I was like, all right, if we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. We're going to do it the best we're going to ever do it ever. There's going to be no falling off. There's going to be no beating yourself up, like because my self-abuse, my self-destruction,
that mental ego story is what you're talking about.
Yes, is always what would take me back to that suffering comfort zone. And the suffering comfort zone was always a beautiful place because you always reward yourself with cupcakes and ice cream in bed after you're suffering.
I mean, right. So, does it get any better than that?
Right?
Except end up being 400 pounds. There's that little side effect.
And it's taken me 2 days to mow the lawn out back because I can only do 2 strips at a time. I'm like, all right, maybe this isn't working out.
Oh my gosh. So this is an incredible story. So I'm just curious, after having that, gifting yourself that year or having that year, maybe at the time you didn't realize it was a gift because you were really basically in bed kind of going through everything you needed to emotionally. Once you unpacked all that, what came next?
I went we moved to Plymouth, Massachusetts, and I knew I needed to start doing more. I was ready. I was emotionally ready for the next level. And so I decided I'd go back to AA meetings. And when I came to Plymouth, I started hitting a couple of different meetings, and it was okay. I was like, well, I know that this worked in the past, so I'm just going to feel it out for a little while. And at one specific step meeting that I went to, it wasn't like a formal step meeting. It was just one that we read, and everybody went around and talked. There was a few people there that were great. It aligned with me. So that's what I ended up doing. I was doing that, and I was still doing the meditation and all that stuff. And then I started looking for, because I was embarrassed to even go outside. I would sit in a meeting and I would be horrified about what people were thinking of me, or because I was huge.
Of course.
I was so uncomfortable and I was so insecure.
Of course.
And people were so kind to me. So I was like, all right, I can do this. People
I love that. I love that they supported you. That's so great.
They did support me. And my guides were so great. I met a gentleman that he didn't have a license and he needed rides to meetings. And I didn't like going by myself. I was so needy.
So it's perfect.
Yeah, and he would call me all the time. He's like, can you give me a ride to a meeting? I'm like, yep, on my way. So,
that's so great.
It works out amazing. And he's such a great friend now. He got sober 10 days after me.
Awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then that worked out perfect. So then I did that for a year or so. And during that year, I knew that I needed more. I needed more. It's still the meditation, all the stuff that I just needed more. Mm-hmm. And, my behaviors would start popping up again, and I'd be like, I'd feel bad about myself. And I'm like, I can't do that. I made the agreement. We're not allowed to do this. And but I at least had a little network now that I could talk to people.
A support network. And also, I think, you know, we're always eternally healing, and there's another layer.
Yes, always.
There's so much work, but you know what? There's always another layer to peel back, and the layer can only be peeled back if we are triggered or we engage in a behavior that's going to create a situation that allows us to look at ourselves and go, there it is again. I got more work to do around that. So we need to really look at these situations where we perceive that we're kind of backsliding or failing or whatever it is, and look at it like an opportunity.
Yes, exactly.
Take judgment out of it and just observe it and go, okay, what does this really mean for me, and how can I respond to this? How can I do better?
Yes. And I
beating myself up.
I look back and I look at my spiral upward, and every time I get to the behavior or I see it again, it's not as intense as it was before, and the lesson is different. So it gets lighter and lighter every time. Yeah.
Like it's just kind of like we just slowly kind of peel the layers and layers and layers. And then eventually you peel that last layer and whoop, you've transcended that issue.
Yep. So my last layer is still Marconic, I'll let you know. But so yeah, so the AA, and then so that worked, and then so because that wasn't enough, I sought out outside meditation, like different types of meditation, and it was dead of winter, and the meetup. I went on to meetup. I didn't even know how I knew about meetup. I guess I was just guided, or I Google searched it or whatever. You know, I allowed my guides to take me everywhere.
Yeah.
Because they gave me visible results. So I would always kick in with my guides. And then my guides would let me know that they're there even when I wasn't even asking. And I'd be like, oh yeah, yes, I can do that. I forgot. So
yeah.
Like team and
so you're kind of just getting downloaded different ideas, guided to different groups, guided to different websites, guided to different books, knowledge, information. And the beautiful thing is you knew to follow that.
Oh, yes.
So a key to this journey is really following the prompts, right? Pay attention, follow the prompts, follow the guidance. Don't ignore it.
Exactly.
For a reason, right?
Those are the most important pieces that get to the next level. Well, that got me to the next level anyway.
Yeah. So when did you decide to take this weight issue on? That was a huge thing to tackle.
So I'll take the meetup story after.
Oh, yeah.
So I went to, there was a Kundalini meditation at the Shanti Shala, and it was in a teepee. So I was like, I got somebody from AA to go with me because I couldn't go by myself. But I'm like, I had to do it. And so I went to this Kundalini meditation in the teepee, and it was incredible for me. It was completely self-changing, life-changing, and everything. Just this one meditation in a teepee.
What?
Did the breath of fire. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
Like, it was incredible. And being 430 pounds, trying to get into the teepee was not an easy process. There, like Indian style on the floor, and it was so uncomfortable. Like, I don't care, I'm doing it, and I had.
Oh my God!
I did it. I did it with everything I had, and I floated out of that teepee. And
wow!
And the owner of Shanti Shala there, she became my best friend, and she helped to guide me through so much. Like she would allow me. I went for guided meditations, gong meditations, healing meditations. I allowed myself to get a massage and allowed my body to be touched, and all kinds of things happened through that because I allowed myself to be guided. I allowed my guide. I trusted my guides to bring me the right people.
This is Shanti.
And so then I trust. What?
Is that the Shanti?
This is so I'm talking about my friend Donnell from the Shanti.
Okay.
Shop. Yeah, I hadn't met Shanti yet.
Okay.
So when I met Shanti, I was like, oh, well, I already got your name tattooed on my arm. So.
As a sign, we're going to be friends.
Right?
So
He
this
was like my biggest sign ever.
So this meditation was life-changing. Meeting this woman was life-changing. She really started to expand you, it sounds like awaken you in ways that you probably couldn't have gotten to on your own, maybe.
Yes, and I was able to become extremely vulnerable with her, and I started trusting myself in so many different ways, and it was a safe relationship. It was a healthy relationship. There was like healthy boundaries. It was so divine and so amazing, and it's exactly what I needed.
Right.
Yeah. So then I was like, all right, I can't do this weight thing anymore. And my wife had the surgery for 10 years before I did. My mother had it 30 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, I'll just do it. I'm gonna do it. I just knew that it was time. I was ready to do it. I didn't want to carry the weight anymore, and I thought that it was gonna fix it. I thought it was going to fix the weight problem. It did not fix the weight problem. So,
here we go. Another layer of emotional stuff we've got to look at, right? Another layer of self-discovery and work.
Oh my God.
The magic bullet.
Trainings and classes and all that stuff. And so I go and I have my stomach cut out, and I'm like, woo-ha, yay. I am on a liquid diet for a little while. I lost like 60 pounds, like really fast. I lost 60 pounds, and I was feeling excited, like this is great. And then I started learning how to eat cupcakes.
Those darn cupcakes, they keep coming back.
I was like the cupcake heaven, and then it became donuts.
Oh gosh.
So I learned how to eat what I wanted to eat. It took me all day to eat a cupcake, but I figured it out after 6 months after that. And so, therefore you're not losing much weight.
Right.
And then I met another friend that was like, oh, I'm going to the gym. Can you give me a ride to the gym? And I'm like, okay, I'll give you a ride to the gym. And I started going to the gym with him. So like, again, guided,
right.
Guided, just allowing myself my process. So I went with it. So I started losing some weight again because I was going to the gym, and I'm doing all the things. I'm starting to feel better about myself. I'm doing a whole bunch of different things. I'm feeling all the aspects of myself that needed healing. Yes. So but I still didn't the food addiction thing, because there's still that whole addiction element period of everything.
Right. So how'd you get how'd you get a handle on that? How did you wrap your mind around that? Because it takes a lot to recognize the pattern, especially when you're working out, you're seeing some weight loss, you're seeing progress in your life. So what took you back to the realization that, okay, I still need to really look at this piece?
I kept seeing the pattern that everything was emotional and behavioral. Emotional, behavioral. So any kind of emotion I felt, I wanted to eat.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, my behavior would be to eat. And before it would be, I was emotional, so I would get high. Or
right.
I was emotional, so I'm going to start drama. And I'd be addicted to drama, or I'd be addicted
right.
to anger. You know, like
right.
it was all of it. So it was just the emotional, behavioral.
So that kept presenting over and over, and you're like, okay, here's the.
Yeah, I had to figure it out. So so just learning to love myself was the biggest and hardest task ever, because loving myself is foreign. I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what that means. I'm like, all right, I want to love myself, but what do you mean? Like, what does that even mean? Like, what do I do? Do I put cream on my feet? Like, do I what do I do to love myself? I'm going to meetings. I'm doing all these things that I'm supposed to be doing, but how do I love myself? Like, oh, maybe like take a nice hot bath, or like, it was everything, but to love myself
on a soul level, what is
through
that?
my emotional instability is what it was. When my emotions arose, I learned to love myself through each emotion, no matter what it was. Allow myself to be that emotion.
That's so huge, to sit with it.
To sit with it, but not just to sit, but to love myself through it, because to sit with it was still something.
Yeah.
But to love myself through it was completely different. It was like for instance, I'll give you a finale, for instance. Like I was driving the other day and I was like sobbing about a behavior of my own in a relationship aspect. And it was an attachment aspect and a relationship thing. And so I was crying about it. And at the same time as I'm crying about it, now I'm not like resisting it. I'm like, oh, it's okay. Like I can hear my higher self loving myself.
Yes. Yes. It's so beautiful.
Instead of, you know what I mean? So
it's almost like offering yourself compassion, like you would be comforting a friend, but you're comforting yourself, right? It's like,
that was it.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because I was very compassionate with my friends. I love my friends. My friends were always my world. I always wanted to fix them, and I always wanted to do
so many people, I think, give so much of themselves away, and they lose themselves.
Yes.
We need to actually love ourselves, which is the underlying theme of our whole conversation today. It's about how do we come back and give ourselves everything that we're giving away.
Yes. Yes. And that's a huge part of my life. I love everybody else, but and you love people to the depth that you love yourself. I strongly do that. You know, the human love that I could give away was amazing, but it always came back to me in disappointment on some level, because my love for you, I would still have an expectation.
So it's conditional, right? There's a little bit of a conditional giving.
Absolutely. Yes, it's a lot of conditional.
But once we start to love ourselves and we become whole and complete,
it expands.
Fill our soul and we're whole and complete. We're able to give in such a different way. We can give this unconditional love, which is so powerful because there's no expectation, there's no attachment. It's just like, I'm giving to you because I honor you, I love you, and we're connected. Right? It's a whole different level of giving and sharing and uplifting the people around us. You know, we get to fill our hearts and fill our souls and heal completely. So that's so beautiful that you've gotten to this place.
It's amazing. It's amazing to be able to be in a place like that and in loving people without attachment. That was
what's been so incredible watching you though is this, you set goals and then you achieve them. So I remember seeing this post, like all of a sudden you decided, I'm going to run a 5K. Okay, I see this post on Facebook. I'm going to run a 5K, and it's in 3 weeks, but I haven't even
I haven't even walked a mile, never mind.
I haven't even walked a mile? How am I going to do this? I don't know, but I signed up for this race, so I'm going to do it, you know? I was like, oh my gosh, she's incredible. And you just started getting up and moving like every day, pushing yourself, and then you did it. I was so proud of you.
So awesome, thank you.
That was so awesome. Like that is just one small piece of how determined you are, how when you put your mind to something, you can achieve it.
Yeah.
And just seeing you do that was so cool. It was so cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you have come so far. You have, if you look back at everything you've been through in your life, it all brought you right here. But look at how powerful you are, what you have accomplished. To lose over 200 pounds, to heal all the wounds of your past. I mean, there's always more that we're excavating and healing, of course.
Yeah.
But you have come, God, your journey is just so inspiring to me.
all the way to the mountaintops.
Yeah.
And the mountaintops of Oregon is where I went, actually. And being up in the mountaintops of Oregon, this was last July, right before I had met Shanti. And I was just up there, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. So like I was flooded with joy and gratitude that I made it that far. I'm like, oh my God, like I did an 8-mile hike on a mountain. Like that was completely unheard of. And I almost died. Not really, but I could have not.
What?
I'm just kidding. I didn't really almost die, but I kept saying I'm going to die. So long and so hard for me to do.
Right.
So, but I was like, but being on the mountaintops and walking through those trails and looking over the ocean and just feeling the incredible, everything was just incredible. It was so magical. I was like, oh my God, like how did I get here? I'm so grateful that I didn't give up. I'm so grateful that I throw my towel in permanently, because a simple breath was magical. And that was something coming from where I came from.
Yeah, incredible.
Like I like, it was just unbelievable. And you know, I always had a thing with relationships. Relationships was a thing for me. But I'll tell you how I met Shanti. Now you want to know?
Yeah.
What brought me to
Yeah.
from the mountaintop, okay? Because I had to have my vibration that high in order to get to that place.
Right.
Phone, this app keeps popping up, the Key app. It's a dating app. And I'm like, yeah, that's a no. That's a no. I even, like, I literally rejected off of Facebook. I don't want to see this ad. It's ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. And then, boop, there it is again. And there it is again. I'm like, oh my God, Lord. I'm like, oh, whatever. So I waited till I got home. And when I got home, it popped up again. But then there was a feeling, need to do it now. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Let's roll. We'll roll with it. Now, I had this picture perfect idea of what I thought I wanted. So I went on. I created my thing. What is it?
Profile.
Yeah, I created my profile, and within 24 hours, there's Shanti. Okay, now her name on the thing wasn't Shanti. My name was Peace Lover, and hers was something about a god. And I looked up her name I Googled the name, and I was like, oh my God, you're gonna be kidding me. So then I looked at her picture, and then I looked at her profile, and I'm like, this has to be a joke. Wendy, had I written on paper, I know why, it was exactly the words I would have written on paper.
Stop it.
For what a human. I kid you, I screenshotted it, I sent it to my friends, and I'm like, dude, this gotta be a joke. So we were talking a little bit, and I didn't even believe that she was real life. I didn't believe it. So I was like, you know what, why don't you get me on Facebook? My name's Lauralee McCarthy. And she goes, okay, my name is Shanti. I damn near fell off my chair. Like, are you kidding me? So Shanti means peace, and my name on the thing was Peace Lover.
Right.
So in my mind, I've gone.
Plus you have the tattoo, by the way.
This one? Her name tattooed on my arm? Yeah. Right, exactly. So, all this great stuff. So I start talking, and I'm like, oh my God, is this real life? Like I was like in awe, completely in awe. And then she sends me the Marconic thing. She goes, check this out and let me know if it resonates with you. And so the second I open it, I'm like, reading it, I'm like, oh my God, does it resonate? I think maybe. But there was still a piece of me that was like, I didn't know that I would it would really work, because the energy healing thing, it was very weird for me. I feel like as though like my vibration was always too high, and when I would go for energy healing and stuff.
It didn't feel great because the vibration of the energy being run on you was lower than where you were. So it's kind of like, actually, I feel worse now.
For a while, I was like, I was certified in Reiki. I knew I wanted to do energy healing. I knew it.
But not sure what modality.
I have the caduceus in my arm.
Mm-hmm.
I got it a couple of years ago because I knew that I would be doing energy healing on some level. I just had no idea what it was going to be. And I really thought it was going to be Reiki, because Reiki or integrated energy therapy.
Well, that was something that's very common, so that's the first thing you think of, right? But Marconics is such a different kind of modality. You know, we're an ascension modality, and we're both practitioners, so I love that you found Marconics and it resonated for you, and super
unbelievable. And so I booked a session with Shanti because part of me wanted to meet her and part of me wanted a session.
Yeah.
So here we go, over to Shanti's for my first session. So I was like, I'll book a no touch just to see if it resonates really. Mm-hmm. So I booked a no touch. It was amazing. I walked into Shanti's house and I knew I was home. The second I walked into Shanti's house. I never felt home. I never knew what home even felt like until I walked into her house.
That's amazing.
Second time I felt like I was home was the day I walked into the intensive training.
Which wasn't too long ago.
That's right. That was just in February. So I had my no-touch session, and then because I have become so aware of myself over the next 2 weeks after the no-touch session, I saw what a huge difference my thought process was, my energetic field was, like everything was so different. And then I started coming down and I'm like, I need a recal.
Right.
I don't know what a recal is, but I need it.
I need to be plugged in permanently.
I need to be plugged in. I cannot live without it. I knew it just had to be. So we booked my recal and I went and did my recal. One of the words, the first words that Shanti ever said to me was, I'm going to teach you the difference between attachment and connection. And let me tell you, she taught me real quick. So it was good. So anyway, learning that I get lost in between the connection thing with Shanti.
So you got recalibrated.
Yeah, so I got recalibrated. I come home after my recalibration. There was the 24-hour period. I'd come home and I just laid with myself and I sat with myself and the feelings and allowed myself to go through. It was the most incredible, magical experience I've ever had in my life. Like I don't even know how to put words to it. It was just unbelievable. And this was after the first recal. I couldn't even leave my room. And I couldn't wait to go back to go finish the second half of the recal.
Yeah.
So I had gone back and I finished the second half, and my life has ascended in such a rapid pace ever since. And it hasn't even been a year.
I know, right? I mean, I think when we say that Marconics accelerates your life path, I'm not kidding. And we're speaking as practitioners. We're not employees of the Marconics organization, so we're just speaking from our own experience. But it accelerates your life.
Yeah,
it blows your mind.
Insane. It's like, it's incredible. So like things would come up, that spiral of behaviors and emotional body and all that stuff. So all this stuff came up again after my recal. It like brought it all back to surface. It was like swirling up, but it was like it swirled up in an awareness. I relived a little bit of it again, and it just went. And then all the things that I was, and all the things that I thought I was, and all the behaviors that I had, and all that stuff, it surfaced, and it was like it just went away. It was
Just released.
I become aware, yes, and I would get downloads, and then it was like releasing all the parts of me that don't serve me anymore.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Ease and grace, not with struggle and
yes.
So
it's like you realize how hard you've been fighting and resisting your life.
Yes.
And then once you can surrender, and when you do the recalibration, you get this detachment, this emotional detachment, which is so powerful, because when you're detached and observing, you're not in the drama. You're not responding from a lower vibrational place. You can observe everything happening in your life, but not be triggered. You're like kind of the eye of the storm. Like there's this tornado, hurricane around you, and you're just completely at the still point. And you can observe it all and respond with love, open heart, detachment.
Yeah.
You can respond to everything in such an elevated way, and it completely changes your whole life and your relationships.
Yeah. Yep, I am so grateful. Like I used to struggle with the gratitude thing. I think I made a post the other day. I'm like, it's nice to be able to feel gratitude and not have to look for things to be grateful for and not know what the feeling actually is.
Yes.
So I used to do that. I'd put those little stickies on my wall and I'd be like, I'm grateful for this, or affirmation for all that stuff.
But it becomes more of an embodied feeling. Like you just are gratitude. You are love.
Yeah. Yes. It's just
a different way of being.
Yes.
It's not just saying the words, right? It's not just a cliche phrase on the wall. All of a sudden,
don't work anymore.
Yeah.
It's like the words don't even, that's exactly.
It has to be just so resonant and such a deep truth for you.
Yes.
That's when you speak it.
Yeah.
Right? It's coming from the soul. It's not coming from the mind anymore.
Right.
It's so different.
It's a beautiful thing.
So I want to encourage any of you out there, if you are interested in receiving a Marconic session, Lauralee is certified. She's in the Plymouth area, but also you can do distant sessions. I'm going to include her contact information at the very end of our video. If you're interested in learning more about Marconics, you can go to marconics.com and read more about what it's about. Or if you're interested in becoming a practitioner, interested in energy work, again, you can go to marconics.com. But I will, at the end of the video, put my contact information and Lauralee's contact information, because we'd love to work with you and help you on your ascension journey.
Yes.
It's been very life-changing for both of us.
It's an honor.
I think I can safely say that for you. But
yes, you can.
It has. So how have you felt after getting your certifications, going through all of that intensive training? I feel like you're a different person.
I am a completely different person. And I was already a completely different person before the training, but wow, after the training, it is, I have no words for it, Wendy. Honestly, the honor I feel,
You're going to make me cry again, I think. I'm getting emotional again, feeling your intensity over here.
Just such a beautiful thing to know me and be with me and all of me.
Yes.
And Marconics gave that to me. And I will eternally, forever be grateful. Like the gratitude. Streams. I drive and I get these streams of gratitude and I just fill up with tears because
love that.
I was wrong. There is a better way. And this is it. This is totally becoming my multidimensional self and being tapped into myself at source
Yeah.
Not having a God, spirits, and this and that and all that stuff. Like, it's all me. And I was able to give that to me because of my multidimensional bridge that brought me to me. And
Oh my God.
I honestly, there's no words, Wendy. There's
I'm
no
getting so emotional.
because
I knew I'd need this.
The love that I have for myself and the love that I feel for everyone else, like the unconditional part of it, it's so real now. Like, it's so tangible, and it's just magical. And
it's so beautiful. And that's what we're hoping to do is really what we want to do is connect you back to you.
That's it.
We want you to get rid of all the noise, everything external. We want to connect you to your higher self lineage. We want to plug you into you so that you follow your inner guidance. And with that alignment, you are unstoppable. The freedom is incredible. The freedom of yourself, freedom from those lower aspects of self. Right. It's a very powerful tool in the spiritual box, I believe, for both of us, it has been, speaking from our experience, right? Mm-hmm. So, man, I just honor your journey. It's been so incredible to be a voyeur and just watch it through Facebook, but I'm so honored that we get to walk side by side on this journey as practitioners, and I feel like we're light workers, of course. Yes, of course. For others who are really going through the dark. I want to ask you a quick question, because right as we wind down, I always like to ask, what was one of the biggest tools that helped you when you were in the dark? When I was in the dark? In the darkest places. Because I think as humanity's ascending, many people are going to be facing themselves, and they are going to be placed in those dark spaces. So the thing that helped me to be okay with being in the dark was learning to not resist. Because we all have it. Mm-hmm. And I learned to not be embarrassed by it, learned to not be upset with myself and be angry with myself, because it would bring me more deeper into the dark. And knowing that the light, I feel like everybody knows that they have some light inside, and it's there, and it's real, and it's ready, and it's waiting. Mm-hmm. But that was it. Being in the dark, in the depths of the dark, it was learning to allow myself that and be the loving space for myself in that. And if I couldn't be the loving space, I could allow my guides, whatever at the time, to help me rise above it. Do you think sometimes you had to just turn it over and not carry it, the weight of it yourself? Just turn it over to allowing my guides. Your guides, your God, whatever you want to call it, whatever terminology you need to use. But Spirit guide is one of the biggest things for me for a long time. Like my brother and my aunt and my like the family members that I knew. Your soul family up there that could help you and support you from the other side. Yep, and I would trust that they would take it from me. So that was a big thing for me. That's a huge piece of it, because I think our human aspect feels like we have to carry every burden ourselves, but we don't. We have this huge team around us, even though they're unseen. Even if we have no awareness, every human being has a spiritual team, a higher self lineage, God, whatever, supporting us on our journey. So turning our suffering over and unburdening ourselves and loving ourselves. Allowing yourself to allowing it. Such a great tool. Thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else you want to say before we kind of wrap up our conversation today?
I don't know. Let's party. Let's party. Have fun. Enjoy.
Raise your vibe. Have a good time. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Lauralee, for sharing your journey with us. It's been so powerful to witness. And I can't wait to see where you go from here. Like, I keep saying, how does it get any better than this? And then more magic shows up, you know.
Keeps getting better. It's amazing.
I know. So thank you again. I honor your journey. I'm so grateful that we're friends. And to my audience, thank you so much for tuning in and watching me cry during this interview. Listening to Lauralee's incredible story. I hope you'll subscribe, like, and share to my channel and tune back in. Be kind to yourselves, love yourselves, and I hope you have an awesome day. See y'all later. Bye.